It's a group of people that don't seem to have a physical problem with their back, but yet they're in so much pain with their back and they can't function. So now they're going to the doctor and they're going to the chiropractor and it's getting worse and worse. And then they're on pain meds. So now they're getting shots in their back, getting injections. They're getting steroids injected. They're getting cortisone treatments. They're getting other treatments too, or they're going into alternative treatments too, or they're trying for stem cell therapy, or they're shooting for anything to relieve the pain. When those things are happening, you got inflammation that's mysterious and it's not caused by an injury that you can see with the eye so easily, and that inflammation is caused by bugs. Shingles virus is the most common virus to get into the lower back, and that's medical medium information. Is never out there, about the shingles virus causing this, but that's the virus that gets into the lower back and into the nerves and creates the back problems that are mysterious. So now you got a back problem, you need back surgery, or you're getting told you need back surgery. You can't get any relief. You've tried all the shots, you've tried all the injections, tried all the therapies, you've been to the chiropractor over and over again. So you go and they're like, hey, you need to get this back surgery. It's gonna help you. You're at that point where we have to do it. So you go get the back surgery, you come out and the problem's still there. You had a physical back problem. They're trying to remedy it with the surgery, but the problem is still there. That's when they didn't realize you had that viral inflammation, like the shingles virus, attaching to the nerves that have frayed. So let's go into that a little bit too, okay? So the pain's still there. They go get the surgery, the pain is still there because they didn't get the viral problem to go away. Now there are situations where someone is injured in the lower back and there is a problem, they get a surgery and they got relief because they didn't have the viral inflammation causing it. They didn't have the shingles virus causing it. It was an injury. Surgery happened to work for them and help them, and there's that small percentage of people that does happen to. But there's a larger percentage of people that have an injury or a problem with the lower back and they have the virus at the same time. There are people out there walking around with screwed up backs, toasted backs, and they're not feeling any pain. They got 2 bulging discs, 3 bulging discs, 2 pinched nerves, fractured vertebrae, and they're walking around. No pain. No pain whatsoever. Just walking around, no pain. Letting you know. Millions of people on this planet walk around with screwed up backs and no pain. Okay? It all depends, right? Unless their back is so damaged and they do have pressure on their nerves because it's so damaged. But there's so many people that when a chiropractor looks at their back, they're like scared for them. Like, oh my God, your back is trashed. Or, doctor looks at an MRI or anything and sees the back, says, oh my God, your back is so bad. But they're not in pain because they didn't get the viral inflammation. That's why. They didn't get the shingles viral inflammation on the root hairs, on the nerves, swelling up the nerves. They didn't get it so the nerves aren't swollen up. But when those nerves swell up, that's when it all goes awry. A lot of people walk around with chronic low-grade inflammation from Epstein-Barr and the shingles all throughout their body, and the shingles being low-grade inflammation throughout the back and in the hips causes it so you're in pain all the time, where it's like you're in chronic pain all the time, and then you end up with a fibromyalgia diagnosis. The most common virus to take people's backs and make them problematic, so they get the back surgeries, so they're at the chiropractor all the time, so they're trying to get adjustments all the time, they're getting massage all the time. The most common bug is the shingles virus. Sits there dormant in the liver, so I'll turn the dummy back around for a second, okay? Everybody has the shingles virus, and guess where it is? It's right in here. It's inside the liver. Stays in there, and it builds up over time, its strength, as we get our immune system knocked down. So as our immune system gets knocked down, the shingles virus gets strengthened up, is what happens. And when it gets strengthened up, it eventually leaves the liver. When it leaves the liver, it's floating around the body. Now you have a low-grade viral infection, but you don't feel it yet because it's so low-grade. And then you injure your back. Or it looks for another injury somewhere else. You injure your back. So now your root hairs and your nerves, they're not protected. They're not in good shape, right? A lot of people aren't on the right kind of B12 to keep their nerves strong. So Anytime I've ever told doctors you got to use a nice high dosage of B12 when someone's dealing with low back pain or anything else or sciatic nerve pain, every time they apply that with their patients, they see an improvement because you're actually helping to restore the nerve itself, right? So that's the Vimergy B12. That's the good stuff. Getting antivirals is important. That's the micro C, right? Vitamin C is an important one. Cat's claw, licorice root, that's an important one too. So if you look in the book right here, in your Cleanse to Heal, you'll see protocols for shingles virus. And so when people apply the protocol for shingles viruses, they're in a lot better shape with their lower back problems. And that's important to know. Same thing with frozen shoulder, same thing with other problems that shingles causes, and especially, you know, if shingles causes anything with the pudendal nerve. So that's important there. So many people have sciatic nerve inflammation, tingles and numbness down their legs, restless leg syndrome because of it. Their butt hurts so bad, their back hurts, lower back, their legs hurt, goes down the piriformis, gluteal nerve, all of it, everything gets inflamed. Those sciatic nerves, when they get inflamed, the inflammation hurts so bad from some people they can't stand on one side. They can only walk on another side. But yet if you don't move your legs and use them, it gets worse. But yet you can't sit down and then you got to lay down. So difficult. We'll talk about that. When those sciatic nerves get inflamed, they send signals down all the way down to your feet. You could have a pain in your foot, and it's a really bad pain where you can't even touch it, and it's coming from your lower back. So many people suffer from the sciatic nerve inflammation caused by the shingles virus as being one of the causes that gets these nerves inflamed and gets people in trouble. Let's head to the sciatic nerve pain now. What shingles viruses like to do, and Epstein-Barr can play a role too if there's enough neurotoxins floating around from EBV, but the shingles virus is the most common for this. What happens is when the shingles virus gets onto the nerves, the sciatic nerve, when it's frayed, that's when you get the sciatic nerve pain in many cases. So even for people who don't have some type of real injury in the back, but they have sciatic nerve pain all the time because the shingles virus got onto the nerves that were frayed. So what does that mean? Sciatic nerve can get frayed like yarn. So you see those little tiny root hairs on yarn, and those little root hairs stick out. Virus tends to cling to those root hairs, and then when it clings to the root hairs, it aggravates the nerve. It's like having something on your nerve that shouldn't be there. And in that case, the nerve then gets inflamed and it starts to swell. And then you can have pain anywhere, not just in the lower back, in your groin. You can have it on your butt, you can have it on your leg, you can have it on your thigh, you can have it on your calf, all the way down to your foot. A shingles bug, that's the sciatic nerve bug right there. That's the one right there. Herpes simplex 2, herpes simplex 1 and 2. So herpes simplex can also affect the sciatic nerve, but shingles is the big one. That's the big one. So the shingles virus grabs onto root hairs that fray off of that sciatic nerve, off of that tibial nerve, off of the lumbar nerves. So we get these, so if you get a pinched nerve, even if it's slightly pinched, you go to your chiropractor and like, well, I got a pinched nerve, my chiropractor says, he says my nerves are pinched. That means that what happens is these frayed, little tiny frayed root hairs come off the nerve, these little root hairs, they come off the nerve. And then if your immune system's low, and everybody has shingles viruses in them. They catch them everywhere, from public bathrooms, from relationships, from restaurants, eating in restaurants. You get the shingles virus, it's in your system, and it's sitting in your liver, and it's dormant. So people don't realize it, but the shingles virus is in everybody's liver. Some people have 1 or 2 varieties. Some people have 3 varieties of shingles. They also have the Epstein-Barr inside the liver, right? What happens is as our immune system lowers, okay, the virus can then crank up and proliferate. When it proliferates, it goes and it literally has a homing signal to look for frayed root hairs. When it finds a frayed root hair, it clings to that frayed root hair and it holds on to that frayed root hair. And then that's when it bites. And that's when you're being bit. You're being bit by the bug. And that bug is grabbing on to that nerve. And when that bug grabs onto the nerve, and now you're inflamed. And now, if you have a ruptured disc, if you have a bulging disc, protruding disc, or if you have a pinched nerve already in there, it's going to be amplified by 100.